You're in a small apartment on a rainy afternoon. Your phone buzzes. You sit in your tiny room while the rain taps on the window. Suddenly, your phone vibrates with a message. It's your friend who left a stressful office job to start a tiny bakery. Your friend who used to work in a tiring office now runs a little shop where she makes fresh bread and cakes. She sounds excited, explaining how she wakes up at dawn to bake muffins for happy customers. She talks with energy, telling you that she gets up very early to prepare sweet muffins for people who love them. You feel her joy through the phone. Her happiness is clear in her voice, and you can almost feel it as you listen. Then you glance at your own laptop. You see an unopened work email marked urgent. You look at your computer screen and notice an email you haven't read yet. It says important in big letters. You sigh, you think, I'm tired of this. You take a deep breath, feeling exhausted. You say to yourself, I don't want to do this anymore. You open your notes where a resignation letter waits. You pause, heart pounding. You open a document where you already wrote a letter to quit your job. You stop for a moment, feeling your heart beat faster. I'm leaning toward quitting my job and starting fresh, you say to your reflection in the mirror. You look at yourself in the mirror and whisper, I think I want to leave this job and do something new. The words feel scary but also freeing. You imagine new paths, maybe a small cafe near the beach, maybe a year of travel. Saying these words makes you nervous but also excited. You start dreaming of different choices, maybe opening a little coffee shop by the sea, maybe traveling for a whole year. Maybe something else that sparks your curiosity. You wonder how many people feel the same urge. You also think about other things that interest you. You ask yourself, do other people also feel like this? Have you ever felt that way too? Where and when would you say, I'm leaning toward in your life? Have you ever wanted to change something in your life? Can you think of a time when you thought, I think I should? Could you picture yourself at a crossroads deciding which way to go? Can you imagine standing in front of two different paths trying to choose the best one? Now, let's jump into a cluttered garage. A flickering light hangs overhead. Now, imagine a messy garage full of tools and boxes. A small light is blinking on the ceiling. Two best friends, Jake and Mia, stand beside a broken motorcycle. Jake and Mia, two close friends, stand next to a motorcycle that won't start. Grease covers their hands. Frustration lines their faces. Their hands are dirty with oil and they look upset because things aren't working. They tried to fix the engine without a manual. It didn't go well. They tried to repair the motorcycle without any instructions, but it didn't work. The bike makes strange noises and they're both stumped. Jake sighs. The motorcycle makes weird sounds and they don't know what's wrong. Jake takes a deep breath. Mia checks a quick tutorial video. They exchange determined looks. Mia watches a short video that explains what to do. She and Jake share a look that says, let's do this. Let's take a step toward fixing this problem together, Mia says with a grin. Mia smiles and says, let's start working on this together. They focus on each bolt and wire. They carefully check every small part of the motorcycle. They follow the instructions carefully. Suddenly, the engine roars to life. They cheer and hug. They do exactly what the video says. Suddenly, the motorcycle starts working again. They shout happily and hug each other. It's a small victory, but it means the world to them. You can almost feel their relief. It's just a small success, but for them, it's really important. You can almost feel how happy and relaxed they are now. Maybe you've also been stuck with a broken phone or a jammed printer, saying to a friend, let's take a step towards solving this. Maybe you've also had a phone that wouldn't turn on or a printer that got stuck, and you told a friend, let's try to fix this together. It's a friendly push to tackle something side by side. It's a nice way to say, let's help each other and get this done. These stories show different ways we use the word toward. Sometimes it's about literal direction, like fixing a machine or stepping closer to a goal. These stories help us understand how we use toward. Sometimes it's about moving in a real direction, like fixing something or getting closer to finishing a task. Other times it's figurative, like quitting a job and aiming for a new dream. Other times it's not about real movement, but about changing your life, like leaving a job and planning something new. Where did the word come from? Long ago, it came from Old English toward, which meant approaching or about to happen. The word toward comes from Old English. It used to mean getting closer or something that will happen soon. People in medieval England might have used it when talking about future events or travel plans. A long time ago, people used this word when they talked about things that were going to happen or places they were planning to go. You might say, I'm leaning toward a new adventure. Someone might say, I think I want to do something exciting. He could ask, are you moving toward a big change? Another person could ask, are you getting ready for a big life change? She might reply, yes, I'm stepping toward my future. The answer might be, yes, I am going forward into my future. You can use similar words like to, in the direction of, or towards. They all show motion or intention. There are other words you can use instead of toward. Words like to or going in the direction of mean something similar. They all show movement or a plan. But toward is special because it blends physical movement with deeper, sometimes emotional goals. But toward is different because it can mean both real movement and personal goals that are about feelings or dreams. In the end, toward reminds us that life is about moving forward, whether it's fixing a motorcycle or leaving a job to start a new chapter. The word toward helps us remember that life is about taking steps ahead. It can be about fixing a machine or changing your job to try something new. It connects our hopes, our plans, and our real steps into one powerful idea. That's the beauty of toward. It brings together our dreams, decisions, and actions into one simple word. That's why toward is special. Imagine standing on a quiet dock at sunrise. The sky is streaked with orange and pink, and you feel a gentle breeze on your face. Picture yourself standing on a wooden platform over the water early in the morning. The sky has soft colors of orange and pink, and the wind touches your face gently. Suddenly, you spot a small fishing boat with chipped paint. The boat drifted toward the shore as the tide changed, like it had its own secret plan. You notice a tiny boat used for fishing. Its paint is old and broken. As the water moves, the boat slowly goes closer to the land, almost like it knows where to go. You might say, hey, it's moving toward us. You could say, look, the boat is coming this way. Or, I wonder who left it drifting toward the beach. Or, did someone forget this boat? It's going closer to the sand. Here, toward suggests a direction or movement, almost like it's being pulled by invisible strings. The word toward helps us understand that something is going in a certain way, as if something unseen is pulling it forward. Where and when could you use toward in your own life? Maybe when you're walking toward a friend's house or pointing someone toward the best pizza place in town. Think about when you might use toward in real life. Maybe when you're going to visit a friend, or when you tell someone how to find a good pizza shop. They could say, let's head toward the city center, or I'm slowly moving toward a decision. A person might say, let's go in the direction of downtown, or I am thinking more and more about what to decide. Notice how toward also has that sense of progress, whether it's a boat on the water or your own personal journey. The word toward is not just about moving in space. It can also mean making progress, like a boat getting closer to land, or you getting closer to a goal. Have you ever had a simple chat turn sour in a flash? You're talking with someone close, and suddenly there's a spark of conflict. Did you ever have a friendly talk turn bad very fast? You are speaking with someone important to you, and suddenly you start to argue. The next day, you feel like you're walking on eggshells because his attitude toward me changed after that argument. The day after, you feel nervous when talking to him because he treats you differently after the fight. Maybe he avoids eye contact or responds in a cold tone. You might think, he used to be so warm toward me, now he's distant. Maybe he doesn't look at you anymore or talks to you without emotion. You could think, before he was kind to me, now he acts far away. Here, toward reflects how his feelings have shifted in your direction. It's not about physical distance, it's about the way he views you. The word toward in this case shows that his emotions about you have changed. It does not mean he is far, but that he feels differently about you. When might you say something like this? If you sense a coworker treating you differently, you could ask, "Has your attitude toward me changed?" When could you use this? If someone at work is not acting the same way with you, you might ask, "Do you feel different about me now?" Or if you feel guilty, you could say, "I'm sorry if I seemed rude toward you." If you think you did something wrong, you might say, "I'm sorry if I wasn't nice to you." By using toward, you show it's about their angle or posture on you as a person, not just where they're standing. The word toward helps show how someone feels about you, not where they are standing. Picture walking through a busy city street at dusk. Neon signs flicker overhead, and you see a warm glow coming from a small shelter. Imagine walking in a crowded street in the evening. Bright lights from stores shine, and you notice a soft light coming from a place that helps people. You drop a few dollars in a donation box because every donation goes toward helping the homeless in our city. You put some money in a box for charity because all the money is used to help people without homes in the city. That single word, toward, shows purpose where the money is going. The word toward here explains that the money is given for a reason. It is used to help others. You might tell someone, "I'm setting aside a little each month toward that cause." You could say, "I keep some money every month to support that group." Or, "My aunt always gives clothing toward homeless outreach programs." Or, "My aunt donates clothes to groups that help people without homes." Here, toward is about directing resources or effort to something meaningful. In this case, toward means giving money, time, or help for something important. Where else could you use this sense of direction? Maybe you're saving money toward a vacation or putting time toward learning a new skill. Where else can you use it? Maybe when you keep money for a trip or when you spend time practicing something new. It's a small word, but it points us at a goal, making our actions clear. It is a short word, but it shows where we are going and makes our plans easy to understand. If you look at all these moments, the drifting boat, the changed attitude, and the donations, you'll see how toward takes on different shades of meaning. If you think about these examples, a boat moving, a person's feelings changing, and money helping others, you will see that toward has many meanings. Sometimes it shows physical direction, like a boat heading for the shore. Other times it reveals emotional leanings, like a person's attitude. Sometimes it talks about movement, like when something goes to a place. Other times it explains feelings, like when someone's mood changes. It can also show intention, like helping people in need. It can also mean having a goal, like giving support to others. You could say, "I'm working toward a promotion," which is not about walking, but about aiming for something bigger. For example, if you say, "I am trying to get a better job," you are not moving with your feet, but you are getting closer to success. In each case, toward links 2 points: where you start and where you're headed, whether that's a location, a feeling, or a goal. Every time we use toward, it connects 2 things: where we are now and where we want to be, whether it is a place, an emotion, or something we hope to achieve. Imagine you settle into a cozy seat and the lights go down. Your heart pounds as the story unfolds on screen. You can't wait to see how it all ends. Picture yourself sitting comfortably in a soft chair, the room gets dark, and the movie begins. You feel excited because you want to know what will happen next. Toward the end of the movie, there's a huge plot twist. It feels like a roller coaster. You gasp and grab the armrest. Near the movie's ending, something unexpected happens. It surprises you like a sudden turn on a fast ride. You open your mouth in shock and hold onto the chair. Where else could you use toward to add drama in everyday life? Maybe when you're sprinting toward the finish line or reaching toward a big change. Can you think of other times when you move closer to something important? Maybe when you run fast to reach the end of a race or when your life is about to change in a big way? You might say, I'm moving toward my goal and nothing can stop me. You can say, I'm getting closer to what I want and I won't give up. Someone else might reply, you're so close to achieving your dream. Keep moving toward it. Another person might answer, you're almost there. Don't stop now. Have you ever been in a tense meeting? Picture people sitting with crossed arms, brows furrowed, voices raised. Have you ever been in a meeting where people were angry? Imagine them with their arms folded, faces tight, and speaking loudly. They were hostile toward the new policy from the very start. They didn't like the new rule from the beginning. One person might say, we refuse to accept this idea. We won't even discuss it. Someone might say, we don't want this. We won't even talk about it. You could think, why are they so angry toward this proposal? You might wonder, why do they dislike this idea so much? Or you might ask, how can we move toward an agreement if everyone's upset? Or you could ask, how can we find a solution if no one is calm? Here, toward points to how people feel. It shows anger directed at something. In this case, toward explains feelings. It tells us that people are angry about something specific. You might say, I feel uneasy toward this situation. Something's off. You could say, I don't feel comfortable about this. Something seems wrong. Someone else might answer, you're right to be cautious toward it. Another person might reply, you're smart to be careful. Let's head to a coastal town where seawater rises each year. Fishermen worry about their catch. The town council meets and votes on an eco-friendly plan. Imagine a small town by the ocean where the water level gets higher every year. The fishermen are afraid they will lose their fish. The town leaders come together to decide on a way to help the environment. This decision is a step toward a more sustainable future. You might say, we have to work toward a healthier planet. This choice helps make the future better and safer. You could say, we need to do things that help the Earth stay clean and healthy. Or maybe, I'm ready to put my energy toward protecting our shores. In this sense, toward mixes direction with purpose. You might also say, I want to spend my time and effort keeping the beaches safe. Here, toward means going in a certain direction with a clear goal. It's like steering a ship toward safety. Each action builds momentum. It's similar to guiding a boat to a safe place. Every small effort helps us move forward. Where might you use it this way? When you set new goals or aim for long-term success, it's all about moving forward. When else can you use toward like this? When you plan to achieve something or work hard to improve your future. It's about not stopping. These stories show different sides of toward. Sometimes it's a point in time, like a big plot twist at the end of a movie. These examples help us see different ways to use toward. Sometimes it means something happening near the end, like a surprise in a movie. Sometimes it's an attitude, like feeling hostile toward a policy. Other times it talks about emotions, like being against a rule or idea. Other times it's a goal, like working toward a greener future. It can also describe effort, like trying to make the world better for nature. In all cases, toward tells us which way we're going, physically, emotionally, or mentally. No matter how we use it, toward shows a movement, where we are going, what we feel, or what we think. It reminds us that each step, each choice, and each feeling points us in a certain direction. That's the real power of toward. It keeps us moving ahead. It helps us remember that everything we do, decide, or feel takes us somewhere. That's why toward is important. It pushes us forward. People often talk about moving forward. They want to reach new goals or discover fresh ideas. People frequently discuss progress. They hope to achieve something new or find interesting thoughts. Sometimes they say, we are striving toward a better future. That idea of toward suggests direction and purpose. People sometimes say, we are working for a better future. The word toward means they have a clear goal and know where they are going. It means you're aiming for something. It also carries a sense of hope and determination. This shows that people are trying to reach something. It also means they believe in success and are ready to keep going. Now let's see how this played out in different eras. Let's look at how this idea appeared in different times in history. It started during the Renaissance, when Europe began to wake up from old traditions. You can say, we are striving toward innovation, because that's what they did. This change began in the Renaissance, a time when Europe started to leave behind old ways. People wanted to create new things, so we can say, they worked hard to bring new ideas. They studied ancient texts, but they also tried new ways of thinking. People explored science and art with equal passion. They read old books to learn, but they also thought in fresh ways. They were excited about both science and art. One might write, these paintings push us toward beauty we have never seen before. Others found new methods in anatomy and astronomy. Some people could say, these artworks show beauty in a way no one has seen before. Scientists also found new ways to study the human body and space. Scholars saw this as a movement toward discovery. They wanted to question established ideas and open new paths. Intelligent people thought this was a time for learning new things. They asked questions about old knowledge and searched for better answers. Their sense of toward was all about aiming for knowledge. They felt a rush of curiosity that sparked creativity everywhere. For them, toward meant moving closer to learning. They were full of questions, and this excitement helped them create amazing things. You could ask, how did they manage to jump toward such drastic changes? Well, they took small steps. Someone might wonder, how did they make such big changes? The answer is that they started with small actions. They printed books, spread literacy, and encouraged debate. It might not have been easy, but that aim toward enlightenment stayed strong. They made more books, helped people learn to read, and talked about ideas. It was not always simple, but they kept trying to make the world smarter. Centuries later, people felt that same push toward something big. This time, they looked at the stars. Many years later, people had the same feeling of wanting something greater, but now they focused on space. You might say, we are heading towards space with unstoppable drive. That was the spirit of the space race. People could say, we are moving towards space with great energy. This idea was the heart of the space race. Nations wanted to place satellites in orbit and astronauts on the moon. One might think, are we seriously aiming toward worlds beyond Earth? Different countries wanted to send machines into space and people to the moon. Some might ask, are we really trying to reach other planets? The challenge was huge, but the excitement was greater. Engineers worked long hours. The task was very difficult, but people were even more excited. Scientists and builders spent many hours working. They designed rockets that could break free of gravity. Governments poured money into research. They created spaceships that could leave Earth. Leaders spent a lot of money on studying space travel. You could reply, we are all moving toward a moment when humans walk on the moon. And they did in 1969. Someone could answer, we are all working toward the day people step on the moon. And this really happened in 1969. That event felt like a leap toward the future. It reminded people of the Renaissance thrill for exploring the unknown. Landing on the moon seemed like jumping into the future. It made people remember the Renaissance when everyone wanted to discover new things. This version of toward wasn't just physical travel, it was also a mental shift. Here, toward was not only about moving in space, it also changed how people thought about what was possible. Humanity decided we were capable of reaching beyond our own planet. They asked, what's next? People believed they could go further than Earth. They started wondering, what else can we explore? That curiosity still guides us. Even today, people still feel curious and want to explore more. Before anyone dreamed of launching rockets, the world changed through the Industrial Revolution. A long time before space travel, another big change happened: the Industrial Revolution. You can say, we are going toward machine-based production and new technology. It began in factories where machines took over tasks once done by hand. We could say people are moving toward using machines to make things. It all started in workplaces where machines replaced handwork. People rushed from farms to cities. Some might write, this is our move toward modernization. Many left villages and moved to big towns. Some could say, we are changing our lives to fit the modern world. Steam engines, spinning jennies, and power looms changed daily life. But it wasn't all progress and excitement. New machines like steam trains and fast weaving tools made life different. However, not everything was good. Workers faced crowded housing and harsh conditions. Still, society pushed on. People who worked in factories lived in small, uncomfortable homes. Even with these problems, the world kept moving forward. The drive towards something better seemed unstoppable. They asked, are we heading toward a future of endless growth? The desire to improve life never stopped. Some people wondered, will we keep growing and improving forever? Maybe so, yet they had to balance it with fair pay and safety. Like the Renaissance and the space race, this was another leap forward. Perhaps, but they also needed to make sure workers earned fair money and stayed safe. Just like the Renaissance and space travel, this was a big step into the future. The idea stayed the same: keep moving toward new frontiers. The goal remained clear: continue discovering and improving new things. In all these stories, toward means heading in a direction, often with hope and ambition. In every example, toward means moving forward, usually with dreams and strong motivation. People chase knowledge, explore space, or build new industries. They take steps, face obstacles, and then keep going. Humans search for answers, travel beyond Earth, or create new technologies. They make progress, deal with problems, and never stop. That sense of toward connects different eras. It shows us aiming for horizons we haven't reached yet. The idea of toward links different times in history. It proves that people always try to go beyond what they already know. It's about pressing on, moving closer, and believing that tomorrow can be brighter. It is about continuing, making progress, and having faith that the future will be better. Imagine you're sitting in a tiny apartment late at night. You hear cars passing outside and you notice your fridge is almost empty. Picture yourself in a small room at night. You hear cars driving by and you see that your fridge has very little food. You sigh and say, most of my paycheck goes toward rent and bills. Where else would you use toward in a moment like this? You take a deep breath and say, I spend most of my money on my home and monthly costs. When else can you say toward in a similar way? You might say, I'm saving money toward a new laptop. You could say, I'm keeping money to buy a new computer. Or, I'm putting cash aside toward a vacation. Both ideas point to the same direction. Or, I'm collecting money for a trip. These sentences show you are planning for something. You're taking steps towards something you want or need. One friend could say, I think I'll chip in toward the groceries, which shows a similar sense of contributing. You are moving closer to something important. A friend might say, I'll help pay for the food, which also means giving money for a shared goal. It's all about moving forward with a plan, even if you only have a little to spare. It means making progress step by step, even if you can only give a small part now. Suppose you're exploring an old mansion at dusk. Each step on the wooden floor sends chills down your spine. Imagine you are walking inside a big old house in the evening. The wooden floor creaks and it makes you feel nervous. You see a door with strange carvings at the end of a long hallway and move closer. Suddenly you whisper, I walked toward the door, but it suddenly slammed shut. At the end of a dark hallway, you notice a door with unusual marks. As you go near it, you quietly say, I went to the door, but it closed by itself. It's an unsettling feeling, right? Where else could you use toward in this sort of scenario? That's a scary moment, isn't it? How else can you use toward in a situation like this? You could say, she leaned toward the window to catch a glimpse of the garden, or he took a step toward the staircase. You might say, she moved closer to the window to see the garden, or he walked a little toward the stairs. You're describing movement in a specific direction, whether it's curiosity or fear driving you. These sentences talk about going somewhere, whether because of interest or fear. Maybe you'd say, let's head toward the exit before we get trapped. That single word can capture motion, intention, and even a hint of suspense. You could say, let's go to the door before we get stuck inside. This word helps show movement, a goal, and even some danger. Another person might say, wait, I'm leaning toward staying here a bit longer, revealing a different kind of approach. Someone else may say, wait, I think I want to stay here more, which shows a different way of thinking. In each case, you're focusing on the idea of heading somewhere, both physically and mentally. Every time the word shows movement, either to a place or to a decision. Now think of a quiet neighborhood. Two neighbors are on edge over a fence that's been there for decades. Imagine a peaceful street where two people are upset about an old fence that has been there for many years. One wants it shorter for a better view. The other wants it taller for privacy. Tension is building, and they keep raising their voices. One person wants a lower fence to see more, while the other wants a higher one for more privacy. They argue more and more. Then someone steps in with a calm tone and says, we need to work toward a compromise before it's too late. Then a person speaks in a soft voice and says, we must find a fair answer before this becomes a big problem. Where else might you use toward in a conflict? Maybe you'd say, we're moving toward an agreement, or we should lean toward a fair solution. When can you use toward in an argument? You might say, we are trying to agree, or we should choose an answer that is fair. Each phrase shows a push to find unity. Another friend might reply, I'm all for working toward harmony, but I need my space. Each sentence shows an effort to solve the problem. A person might answer, I want peace too, but I also need to feel comfortable. Again, you see how toward points to progress or resolution. Once more, you can see that toward means moving to a solution or improvement. When you link these examples, toward always points you in some direction, an actual place, a goal, or an idea. If you look at all these examples, toward always shows movement, either to a location, a dream, or a thought. It's about closing the gap between what you have and what you want. You might say, I'm heading toward my dream job, or we're all moving toward a better future. It means getting closer to your goals step by step. You might say, I'm working to get my perfect job, or we are all trying to make life better. Whether it's about money, spooky doors, or neighborly fences, toward reminds you of motion, growth, and possibility. No matter if it's about saving money, scary places, or fixing problems, toward always shows movement, change, and hope. Imagine you walk into a busy university hallway, you pass by a classroom and spot the professor paying extra attention to certain students. Picture yourself walking through a crowded university hall. You look into a classroom and see the teacher focusing more on some students than others. He nods and smiles at them, while the others seem left out. The professor was biased toward his favorite students, and that stands out right away. He gives them friendly looks and smiles, but the rest don't get the same treatment. It's clear he likes some students more than others and treats them better. Maybe that feels unfair, but it happens more often than we think. It might seem wrong or unjust, but people do this kind of thing all the time, even if they don't notice it. Where and when might you use the word toward in this case? You could say, he shows more warmth toward them, or she believes he's biased toward some people. How can we use the word to describe this situation? You might say, he is kinder to them, or she thinks he prefers some students over others. You might also use towards to mean the same thing. Both forms give the idea of direction or attitude. The words toward and towards mean the same. They help us show feelings or movement in a certain way. Someone could even ask, do you think he's leaning toward those students because they praise him more? Notice how leaning toward suggests a preference or bias. Someone might say, do you think he treats them better because they say nice things about him? The phrase leaning toward shows he has a favorite group. Have you ever walked in a community garden on a bright morning? Neighbors are planting flowers, others are fixing fences, and everyone wants to make the place greener. Have you ever visited a shared garden early in the day? Some people plant flowers and others repair things, and everyone tries to make the area look better. We're striving toward a better future, one step at a time. Each person pitches in, and that shared energy feels strong. We are working little by little to create a better world. Everyone helps, and together it makes a big difference. Where and when might you use the word toward or towards here? You could say, we're moving toward a healthier planet, or she believes in working towards a cleaner environment. How can we use this word in this example? You could say, we are trying to make the earth a healthier place, or she thinks it's important to help make the world cleaner. Maybe you'll mention, he's heading toward the compost bin with those scraps. In each case, toward shows a direction, sometimes physical, sometimes more about a goal. You might also say, he is walking to the compost bin with food waste. The word can show both movement and a goal people want to reach. Some people might say, in the direction of, but toward sounds shorter and more direct. Instead of using toward, some might say moving to, but toward is quicker and easier to understand. You could also say, we're moving in the direction of real change. Either way, you're talking about a path or progress. You might also say, we are getting closer to real improvements. Both phrases show we are making steps towards something better. Try to notice how your actions line up with your goals, like you're tilting toward a certain future. Think about how what you do today connects to what you want in the future. It's like slowly moving closer to your dreams. Suppose you're cooking dinner with a friend. You spill way too much salt into the soup and now it tastes funny. Imagine you're making food with a friend. You accidentally add too much salt and the soup doesn't taste good anymore. You feel embarrassed, but your friend just laughs and says it's okay. You feel a little bad about your mistake, but your friend smiles and tells you not to worry. You answer, I appreciate your tolerance toward my mistakes. I'm still learning. That little comment highlights the value of kindness. You say, thank you for being patient with me. I'm not perfect yet. These words show why being kind is important. Where and when would you use toward in a situation like this? You might say, thank you for being patient toward me, or please keep a gentle attitude toward my errors. How can we use this word in this case? You could say, thanks for waiting for me to get better, or please don't be too hard on my mistakes. Another person might say, I really hope you stay understanding towards my flaws. Here, toward and towards both show an emotional direction. Someone else might say, I really hope you keep being kind when I do something wrong. The word helps us show feelings toward other people. They talk about how we feel or act regarding someone else. These words explain how we behave when dealing with other people's actions. When we speak of toward, we mean moving closer to something, whether physically, emotionally, or mentally. The word toward helps us talk about getting near something, whether it's a place, a feeling, or an idea. It can point to bias, progress, intention, or even sympathy. It can show if someone has a favorite, if something is improving, if a person has a goal, or if someone feels kindness. In each story, toward focuses us on a main idea, a teacher's biased stance, a group's shared goal, or a friend's supportive attitude. Each example shows toward helping us understand different situations, unfair treatment, people working together, or kindness between friends. It's all about where we aim our thoughts, our hopes, or our steps. It always connects to where we put our focus, what we wish for, or what we are trying to do. Next time you use toward or towards, remember these examples. When you use this word again, think about these stories to help you understand it better. You might discover new ways to express direction, respect, and hope in everyday life. You could find different ways to talk about movement, kindness, and dreams in your daily conversations.